Welcome to Profitable Chats. This is our first time doing a program. We're very excited about it. I'm Stephanie Barker. This is my husband, Rob. As a prophet, Rob not only gets words from the Lord, but also sometimes gets teachings. And we find that when we sit down and just chat about them, the best stuff comes forward. So you get to be part of our very first one.
I think the first one we need to do, as we've discussed, is talking about love.
Absolutely.
Not talking about a surface love that is taught nowadays, but a revelation of a deeper understanding of what love is supposed to be, what we're supposed to walk in. So the first place that we should probably start is when the Lord talks about what is the greatest commandment. And then the second one. So if you'll read that to get us started.
Oh, yeah. And that's Matthew 22. 36 is where we're going to start then. Someone asks Jesus, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" And he said to them, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the greatest and foremost commandment. The second one is like it." Keep going. Okay. "You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend the whole law and the prophets." So two commandments.
Love your neighbor as yourself. That right there sets the tone, if you will. So interesting enough, if you take the word neighbor and you track it back to its root, it also can be translated as friend. It can be. I
would have never put those together.
I know. I started looking it up and I thought, well, that's kind of a neat revelation. And it also talks about, I think it even refers to a brother or someone of the faith as well. So having set that foundation, now let's look at what is the greatest love. It talks about no greater love. So let's go read that next. I think John.
All right.
John, what is it, 15?
All right, John 15. John 15. 13. Yep, John 15, 12 and 13. "This is my commandment, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that one lay down his life for his friends." So the commandment really is how he loved us. That's how we're supposed to be loving. That already sounds like, wow. I mean, God is love. So,
and he talks about laying your life down for a friend. And again, if you take that word for friend, it's a different word than neighbor. But if you take that one that was translated as friend and you take it back to its root, it also has the word neighbor in it. It can be translated as neighbor as well, even though they're different words.
That's interesting.
They share that same commonality. So you got one over here that says neighbor, which also could be friend. You got friend over here, which also could be neighbor. So you've got that link.
Yeah. But that's kind of cool.
And right before read the very first part again.
The very first part. "This is my commandment."
So we'll get into this later, but we're commanded to love.
Oh.
Commanded to love.
Okay. So it's not just, "Woo, I hope you guys love each other."
Yes. Hope you get a warm, fuzzy feeling for each other and everything's good. So we're told that there's no greater love than to lay down your life for your friend, for your neighbor, for your brother. And it's easy for us to go, "Oh, yeah, I love you, brother. I'd lay down my life for you. If somebody's trying to shoot you, I'd jump in front of that bullet. I would,
Yeah.
And,
of course, I wonder if people really would, but...
I'd climb the highest mountain for you. Oh, I would do, I would definitely lay down my life for you. But in reality, what are the odds of any one of us having to actually have that situation to physically lay down our life for another person?
Oh, like
rare to
less than 1%? I don't know. So, I don't know a percentage, but it seems rare. Right?
It makes you question why Jesus would say, "No greater love hath any man than this," because we won't get an opportunity to demonstrate the kind of love that he commands us to have if that's the foundation for it.
Okay.
So the prophetic revelation that he started showing me was, I think it first kicked off in me when he showed me that Paul says, I die daily. And obviously, Paul didn't physically die daily.
Okay.
But he
come back to life
daily.
every day. Okay.
And he died to the things of the flesh daily.
Oh.
He would die to those things that did not glorify Christ, or things that his flesh wanted over what the Spirit wanted.
Mm.
And the Lord started showing me that's what he's talking about. He wants us to die to ourselves for our friends, for our brothers, for our neighbors, for our spouses. And he started showing me what that could look like.
To flesh.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, give you an example. Let's say that I'm really into hockey, and I get playoff tickets. I've been waiting for them to make the playoffs all year long. They make the playoffs. I get playoff tickets for the final game. I'm just psyched. This is what I've been waiting for. I can't wait to tell you. You come home and you're like, honey, remember that play I've been wanting to see, that musical? It's going to be here one night only. I got us tickets. It's on the same night as the playoffs. Now I've got a choice.
Okay.
I can live to my thing, or I can die to my thing, that I may bless you and walk in that. That's the kind of love we're talking about. Taking those things that we would choose personally and lay them down for someone else. It's not an easy thing at first.
Right.
Our flesh doesn't want us to do that.
I'm sitting here saying, it's a compromise or whatever. You go to hockey and I'll go to the musical. I think that's what people would think of.
They would, but you're excited because you want me to go with you.
You're my best friend.
I'm excited because I got playoff tickets. I want you to go with me.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm going to choose the greater love, the more excellent way. And that's the level that we're called to love one another.
Mm-hmm.
In the day-to-day things, those things that come up every time throughout the day, we can die to ourselves daily and lay down our lives for a friend, neighbor, brother, spouse, in a daily way. And that's a choice. We're commanded to do it. So now that opens up a whole nother can of worms. Yes.
Okay. Oh, I mean,
as we've experienced many things, having, the Lord shown us, He's shown this to us years and years ago. So we've had lots of time to walk in it and lots of
to practice it.
Experiences along the way.
Yeah.
But I know that we have a couple that show up as this was really tough, but it demonstrated what we're talking about. I assume that's what you're going to
I have one that's like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so, because we had this time, I remember a friend that was really going through a hard physical battle. But their pet was maybe on their last leg. I mean, whatever. And he said, hey, when this happens, when that pet dies, will you come over and dig a grave?
Yep. I remember thinking, sure, no problem.
And I
got you.
And I remember you doing that. I mean, anyways, but this day came. It was a hot day, and you had been out working in the hot all day long.
That was a bad day.
You came home. You looked bad.
That was tough.
I was nervous for you. Whatever. Like, sit down. Let me get you a drink and put your feet up. And I thought you were going to be sick. I mean, it just didn't seem great.
It was tough. It was a tough day.
And I feel like you had been sitting there for all of 2 minutes. I don't even think you
I got a couple bites of food in.
Is that what?
Yeah, we were eating.
Oh, I forgot about
did
the
remember
eating
we
part. That's
just
right.
got some food.
Yeah, and he called and said, "Oh, can you come do the grave right now?" I'm like, "No, you can't come right now. You can't come right now. You don't feel well. Tomorrow we'll go dig a grave." And you said, "Sure, I'll be right there." I was like, "What?" And you did. And we both went. And you stood in the direct sun yet again to dig a hole in the ground for a pet because you loved him. You loved our friend, and you showed that love.
And the Lord showed me that the second he called, nothing else mattered. It was just a response of, "Oh, well, I love him. Obviously, I'm going to." It wasn't, "Well, yeah, but you had a horrible day. Yeah, but the heat, you just finally out of the heat." And it was none of those thoughts, but it was only that way because we've already been walking it. We've been practicing. We've been getting those things in us. It doesn't make it easier. It was a physically difficult, as you saw, experience for me. But again, I would do it in a heartbeat because that showed in a physical way God's love.
He cried. He thanked you over and over and over.
And he didn't even know what.
He didn't even know your day.
And it didn't need to because it wasn't about that. So, but it's that kind of stuff that we're called to walk in. We're called to walk in a far deeper, "Oh, sure, I'll lay out my life for you, no problem." Well, now the rubber's going to meet the road. When you have that bad day and you get home and all you want to do is put your feet up. Mm-hmm. But your wife had a bad day and she needs your attention. Mm-hmm. You just want to turn on the TV and forget about your day, but she needs to talk. What are you going to do? Are you going to, fine. Mm-hmm. Or are you going to, what? Turn your attention on her.
Right.
Whatever.
You're good at that too.
But again, those are things that we've learned along the way that are something that it's become part of us because we've chosen to walk that path. It becomes part of us. At first, it wasn't, because we're flesh. And that flesh wants to rule. Mm-hmm. But every time that we kept dying a little more to that flesh and forcing that flesh aside, that we could demonstrate love, it replaced that part of the flesh with a part of the good.
You're good, and you're better at it than me. I still have a lot of flesh, so I still struggle.
It's many times a struggle, and many times I'll fail to do it. And our Father's faithful enough; He'll nudge me and go, "Are you loving her right now?" Because the honest truth is, if I pick up my stuff over your stuff, if I want to do my thing over walking in blessing or love towards somebody else, then I'm not truly loving. Bottom line says, well, what is the word talking about love? Let's go there.
The 1 Corinthians 13 is the love chapter.
Yes.
So love is patient, love is kind and is not jealous. Love does not brag and is not arrogant, does not act unbecomingly. It does not seek its own. It is not provoked.
Let's go with right there. Does not seek its own. In this application, that's saying if you seek your own over whatever that is, you are not walking in love.
Because love encompasses all these things that we just looked at. Okay. Plus.
So anytime you do a selfish act, you are not loving. Bottom line, black and white, that's how it is. Because love is not a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's not, I can't tell you, well, I can tell you because you understand, but how it gets under my skin when somebody says, "Oh, I don't think I love them anymore. Oh, I just fell out of love with them." And the word doesn't say, to love one another with a warm, fuzzy feeling until it goes away, or I hope you get a warm, fuzzy feeling and then walk in that. Love is an action. Love is something that we do, something that we choose to do or choose not to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we're commanded to love one another and lay down our lives for others. That is the greater love that we need to understand. That's a greater love that we need the body, the ecclesia, to really get a hold of. Because if we can walk in a way that we're laying down and dying to ourselves constantly, that we can show true love
to all others, yeah.
I can't even understand the fullness of what that will do in the body.
Mm.
So
much less what it does in our hearts when we actually walk in
absolutely.
We get blessed and we don't even mean to.
Yep.
You know?
Because when I did that for a friend, that sacrifice, my flesh suffered, but my spirit rejoiced. My spirit was refreshed, and it was there was a reward in it. We don't do it for the reward, but he's gracious to reward us in that. And so, and not only that, it brings people closer together. When you do those things, especially when you don't announce that you're doing them.
Absolutely.
You just do them.
I feel like it could lose its power.
It could easily be, I've had a horrible day, but you know what? I'm going to be there. Oh, this is horrible for me. I'm about to throw up, but I'm still going to do it for you. That, again, now that's seeking your own, because now you're wanting to get validated for what you're doing. You want to get praised for going above. And I guess that's a whole nother video, but.
Maybe so, but it takes away the power of what you're doing.
It really does. It does.
If you're just announcing, oh man, I really don't want to be here, but
because it defines your motivation.
Yeah.
Motivation is another video. Stay tuned for that one.
I mean, everything is an attitude of the heart. Every single thing that you do.
Absolutely.
Good or bad.
Absolutely.
It's all about your heart. So awesome.
So that was a good chat. Is there anything else we need to expound upon with this? Kind of cover it?
I don't think I have anything else.
All right.
Awesome. Hey, thank you all for joining us on the first time with Profitable Chats. We'll see you next time.